Roll it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Tuesday, April 29th operations meeting. So, Tony, would you please do roll call?
I can't, because we don't have the sheets. I gave it on this way, he ran back to the office to get some, and so as soon as they arrive, I can have it.
Okey dokey. All right. Well, while we're waiting, please review the minutes so we don't waste any time. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented by John Hess, seconded by Michael Zaslow. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Minutes will be accepted as presented. Thank you. Should we proceed with the financials?
Monica, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's proceed with the financials.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. This afternoon, we're looking at your statement of operations for the 4 months ended February 28th, 2025. Our total income for the month was $583,000, which included just shy of $17,000 of reserve revenue this month, which we used to cover the final payment. Believe it or not, if you guys recall recently, we finally received the final payment on the HVAC project from CJM. So that's what the reserve revenue is for during February. Our total expenses for the month of February, $549,000. So we have a profit for the month of $34,000 and change. Year to date, our total income is $2,267,000, and our total expenses are $2,319,000, which brings us to a loss for the year of $52,000. We had actually budgeted a loss for this period of $152,000, so it's a positive variance of $99,000. If you look down the right-hand side of your page under the expenses, you will see, looks like every single line but one is under budget year to date, and that one line is repairs and maintenance, which is only over budget $4,953. So far we're looking pretty good this year. At the bottom is your social activity summary. Your theater and dance income for the month of February was $95,252. Your theater expense, dances and movies was $70,000, so we have a profit for the month of $25,000. Year-to-date revenue from your theater and dances is $161,000. We spent $184,000 for those activities, so we have a loss of $22,520 for the year. We had budgeted a loss of $45,000, so that's a positive variance of $23,000. Any questions? Okay. The next report is your cash balances. As of the end of February, our total operating funds amounted to $490,000. Our windstorm deductible reserves are at $1,109,000, and our contingency and infrastructure reserves, which we are continuing to build, is at $446,000. So our total reserves is $1,555,000, bringing our total available cash to $2,045,000. The next report is your social activities report, and this is for March. So March being our last month that we consider season around here, we had 5,096 theater tickets sold for the month. We collected $70,248. When we reduced the gross sales for our audience view cost and our sales tax, our net sales are $62,343. We paid the performers $77,500, so we had a loss of $15,156 for the month. For your Friday night dances, we had 4 dances during the month. There were 712 people attending your dances. We paid $1,420 to the DJs. For your movies, 940 people attending your movies. We paid $1,605 for the movies. So between your theater, dances, and movies, for the month, we have a loss of $18,000. I will point out, there's a footnote at the bottom of this page, just to give you an update. The tickets sold for March events to the 2 outside communities that Eva's been working with. We sold 94 tickets to the Cypress Lake community and 17 tickets to Golden Lake, so a total of 111 tickets for $16 a ticket, so we collected $1,776. Any questions? Okay. Your next report is revenue collected from guests. This is also through March. Our resident box office sales year-to-date has been $114,000, while we've sold $56,000 of tickets to guests, so our total box office sales have been $171,000. So that's roughly about a third of ticket sales have been to guests. If you recall, we collect $3 extra for each ticket sold to a guest. So when it comes to the number of tickets sold, we've sold 9,390 tickets to residents, 3,744 tickets to guests. Total tickets sold 13,134. Included in your ticket sales to guests that's specifically resulting from a guest sale, that $3 I was just talking about, is $11,232. We've also sold guest passes in the ID office totaling $17,874, and guest passes sold in the staff office, another $6,939. So our total fees year-to-date collected from guests, $36,045. That's actually only a $1,675 decrease for the same period what we collected in the prior year. Questions? Okay. Next report is your estoppel income. This is also through March. During the month of March, we had 58 units sold in this community. As compared to March of the previous year, there were 75 units sold during March. Year-to-date, there have been 164 units sold. Year-to-date, the same period in the prior year, there were 240. That's a 76 unit decrease, or 32%. Year-to-date, we've collected $35,190. Last year, the same period, we collected $51,320, so it's a decrease of $16,000. I have 2 other things on the agenda for myself today. If there are no questions from any of the reports. Okay.
Can we hold off until we do roll call? So we have to
Oh,
have a quorum?
absolutely, certainly, go right ahead.
I'm ready if it was. Okay, Maureen Debigan.
Here.
Ruth Dries. Here. David Furness. John Craig. Richard Handelsman. John Hess.
Here.
Bobby Levin.
Here.
Joyce Reese.
Yes.
Eva. Dan. Monica. Abby is a no. Then Gary Sotofsky is a no. Joanne? I'm here. Stewart? Dominic? Oh, no. Okay. Patricia?
Here.
David Boaz?
Here.
Fausto?
Here.
Okay.
Michael Zaslow.
No,
Should be
it's
on
left out, I'm sorry.
Do we have a quorum?
Five, 6, 7, 8, 9 committee members are here. And the total number 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, 9, and the total number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you have 9 under 13.
We got work.
There we go. I'm counting WPRF.
No, you can't count
Yeah,
those.
okay, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 committee members, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 with Martha.
Okay. You have 9 committee members here? No way.
No,
1,
those are
2,
committee
3,
members.
4, 5,
I count 6.
6 of 9. 6 of 9.
Okay. All right.
Seven.
You have 6 committee members.
I'm not David.
We have a quorum. All right, Monica.
Okay, the next thing, a topic that I wanna touch on and get your feedback is, those that are new to the committee, our, what I call our commercial, insurance package that happens once a year, obviously. It bundles together our general liability coverage, our property coverage, business interruption, our automobile, all the policies that we have, our equipment floater that, you know, insures our golf carts and all those things. Years past, many years ago, we would have a number of agents come in and present a proposal. As we all know, a lot's changed in the insurance industry in recent years, and there's no longer enough markets available, especially for property insurance, to be in a position to bring in several agents to bid the insurance. So in recent years, what we've been doing is having a couple of agents come do a presentation, and then the committee select which one of those agencies they want to go out to bid. It's a little early, but not really for me, because they will be soon asking me to start updating all my schedules, even though the policies do not expire until July 31st. I will have to start working on this in the next couple of weeks probably. So I have not had a single agency reach out to me this year and ask to be considered for bidding our insurance, or even ask if they could do a presentation or anything else. So I want to know from this committee if you're okay with us moving forward with Assured Partners, which is our current agency.
We only had 2 last year. We had Assured Partners and just one other, right? Last year?
Mhm.
That was it.
That was it. I mean, only Assured Partners bid it last
Right.
year.
Okay.
All 3 communities chose to have Assured Partner to be the agency to bid the insurance. And it's not to say that they only go out to the markets that we currently have coverage with. They go out to all the markets,
Yeah, I
you know.
understand that.
Yeah.
It was just stay with Assured Partners.
Are you guys happy, pleased with Assured Partners?
I am.
Yes, John?
Well, I think under the economic conditions and the way that nobody seems to be eager to jump into insurance, I think we ought to stick with Assured. They've been here for a couple of years. They know what we need, what we have, what we want. And they, as far as I know, they've been pretty dependable.
They have been extremely dependable, and they have the best, in my experience, the best customer service that I have seen in a lot of years. And I do know that, this is their niche, especially your condo insurance. You know, they insure a tremendous amount of condo associations and homeowners associations throughout the state of Florida. So it's their wheelhouse. So, and they've done a tremendous job with our coverage as well.
No reason to change, do we need to vote?
I have no objection to staying with, that's all.
Okay. Could somebody make a motion and,
I make a motion that we accept Assured Partners.
I second.
What, I never get that one, make a motion to accept, to renew our insurance with Assured Partners.
thank you, Joyce.
Who's second?
Bruce,
Ruth?
I second. Okay, hold the vote. Is there any discussion? Okay, you want me to call for the vote?
Any discussion?
Call for the vote. Call the vote?
yes,
Okay. Maureen?
Yes.
Ruth? Yes. John Hess?
Yes.
Bobby? Yes. Michael?
Yes.
Okay, who's the other one? Rose Clancy. Okay, did that. Did that. Ruth? Yeah, I did that. Joyce? Yeah.
Joyce,
Joyce? Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Oh, Joyce, yes. Okay, got it. All right, the officers? Okay. Jim's not here. Joanne?
Abstain.
All right. Patricia?
Yes.
David Boaz?
Yes.
Fausto?
No.
And Tony?
What did you say, Tony?
Who's
What
that?
does Tony say? What was your vote?
Yes.
Okay, we couldn't
I'm
hear you.
sorry, I kind of mumbled it, I apologize. Okay. All right. Oh, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses, 1 abstain. Well, with the board is 7, 8, 9 yeses, and then a no, and then an abstain. Motion carries.
Thank you. One other thing, while we're on the topic of insurance, real quick, I just thought I'd give you, bring you up to date on, where we are with our general liability. I won't call them claims, because if you recall, we're self-insured this year, for $100,000 per claim. So all of our incidents, are reported to a third-party administrator rather than going directly to the carrier, which is the way we've operated previously in the past. And I'm hoping this is gonna be good for us in the long run, but like I said, this policy began August 1st of last summer. So through the end of March, we're a good ways through this policy year. And year-to-date, between the 3 communities, there have been 56 instances reported to the third-party administrator, some of which may eventually result in a claim. out of those 56 incidences that have been reported, 20 of those took place in West Palm Beach. That's 36%. Of all of those 56 incidences reported, there are only 4 that we have been notified that there is an attorney involved and that there's a possibility it could result in a claim if the third-party administrator is not able to resolve it. At some point, they will work with the attorneys and try to prove to the attorneys that we were not at fault, or whatever the case may be, and eventually, if they're not able to resolve it, it will be sent to the carrier. But as of today, not a single incident has been sent to the carrier. So we have 0 claims on our record for this year so far. There are two of the 4 incidences that are represented by an attorney are currently in this community. One of them was a simple man tripped over a parking bumper. The other one, I don't know where the heck the person tripped and fell.
We have no incident report. I reported on this, I think, last month. We have no idea where she fell, whether she fell on wreck property, we have no idea. We asked, I don't think we're getting any information on this case, but we have no idea where she fell. So hopefully it's not on wreck property.
Yeah.
And the other gentleman never looked down. Tripped over a parking bumper that's been there for 50 years.
So I'm curious, I'm not an expert on insurance, but if somebody is through their own negligence, are we still responsible?
This is where, with the changes that were put in place, they can assign a percentage of responsibility. So when we have video footage that shows he never looked down and is just looking to see who he knows over at the bocce courts.
The problem is you have to defend yourself, up front.
Guilty until it's zero.
No, it'll never be 0, but
All right, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion about, yes, ma'am?
Monica, you had mentioned that your preference was to stay with insured. And since we don't have any numbers yet, what are we gonna do if the insured comes back and they're quite a bit increased? So we gonna look then for somebody else?
Oh, they always go out to different markets for general liability, but because of our history
Yeah.
of so many claims, there's not a lot of companies that are really interested in insuring us, but look, this is, the fact that we have been self-insured this year scared me to death, because we have never, ever been self-insured. But it's the only coverage that we could get that was affordable because of our claims history. So the fact that our carrier has not received a single claim this year should bode very well for us when they do go out to market.
Is there statute of limitations on these people making claims?
There is, yes, there certainly is, yeah. One last thing on the agenda for me is, Audience View is the current vendor, our software vendor for our box office program that we sell tickets through. And originally, when we started with this system, I want to say maybe 12 years ago or so, it was called Vendini. And Vendini was bought out by Audience View. Audience View is one of the larger providers for ticketing software programs across the country, because they've been buying up most of the smaller venues. Our contract expires this coming October. And we've been paying, for those of you that don't know anything about box office software, we get charged a fee for every ticket we sell. And for as long as I can remember, we've been paying 65 cents per ticket. So our contract is coming to an end in October. Abby and Michelle have been negotiating with Audience View for a couple of months. And they've offered us 2 different options, and they've negotiated one of those options in particular even further. So I basically just wanted to share with you the results of what they've been able to negotiate with Audience View. They were initially offering to continue a per ticket pricing platform, just like we do now. And starting the first and second year of the agreement, the per ticket price would go from 65 cents to 70 cents. From there, it would go up into the 5th year, it would be up to 85 cents per ticket. So they offered an alternative to that, which is, they're calling it a licensing offer program, where they would charge us a flat fee for the year for all the tickets sold. And for that program, we would be able to sell up to 120,000 tickets. We typically sell between the 3 communities around 83,000 tickets. So as long as we stayed under 120,000 tickets, there would not be a per ticket charge. So if we went with that program, which makes some more sense, because when I ran the numbers of what it would be paying the per ticket pricing versus this flat fee, and then that flat fee would be allocated between the 3 communities based on the number of tickets sold in each community, because this community sells a lot less tickets than we do in Boca and in Pembroke Pines. So it wouldn't be right to take that fee and divide it by 3. So we'll allocate the annual fee based on number of tickets sold. If we go with that program, they're actually probably, believe it or not, for West Palm, when I compare the 2 programs, you're looking at a $300 difference. But if we go with this 5-year licensing offer, at the end of the 5 years, if all 3 villages agree to stay with Audience View, and I'll tell you in a minute why that could change, assuming all 3 villages wanted to continue after 5 years, they've already agreed up front to give us the option for a 2-year extension. And that would mean for the last 3 years of a 7-year contract, the price per ticket would not go up. It would be flat for those 3 years. So that is the best option for everybody, I think. And the reason we requested that they structure it that way is because in December 28th, 2028, the residents in Boca Raton have the opportunity to exercise an option to purchase the rec facilities in that community. And they will be in charge. They may keep us to manage, they may not keep us, they may bring somebody in. We don't know what they will do, what will happen at that time. So regardless of whoever's managing that community, they could decide that they don't want to continue with Audience View. They could decide to not even have entertainment, for all we know, you know what I'm saying? So we couldn't commit that particular community beyond 5 more years. So that's the reason we asked if we, at the end of the 5 years, if all 3 communities agreed to stay, would they leave the price the same for 2 more years? And they did agree to that, because it is a single contract for all 3 communities, and that's how we get the preferred pricing, is by bundling the number of tickets that we sell between the 3 communities together. Does that make sense? Yes, Joyce?
How much is that contract?
The first year for the 3 villages, it's a flat $63,800. And the way I calculated it, based on what we're selling currently, if we stayed on the per ticket pricing, it would be $61,700. So you're talking a couple of thousand difference, but the per ticket pricing program, the ticket prices go up more each year than this flat licensing program does. So it makes more sense
I have
in the
another
long
question.
run. Yes, ma'am.
Right now, we charge $2 extra when you use the program. If you buy a ticket online, it's a $2 fee.
Mhm.
Is there any possibility of raising that to 3, or is that?
That is completely up to this community.
But what do you think about that? What do people think about that?
No, I don't know, but it's too late for next year,
Alright.
as you know, because ticket prices have already been set, but
Yeah, no.
that's a decision that each community makes on their own, how much they want to charge for the convenience fee for a online credit card
Something to
purchase.
think about, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes.
Isn't that kind of apples and oranges though? I mean, no matter how you sell the ticket.
Could you use the mic, please?
No, she's talking about something different.
That's what I
If,
mean.
yeah, if you go to the, yes, if you go to the box
Not the
office
guest fee, right?
and you
Yeah.
pay cash, or you write a check for your ticket prices, we get charged 65 cents just for selling that ticket. What Joyce is talking about is, I'm gonna go purchase my ticket online and use a credit card, and because I'm using a credit card to pay for that sale, I'm being charged the convenience fee, yes.
That's what I said, apples
A lot of things are like that. It's confusing.
Yes. Any other questions or discussion? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, ma'am. That's it for me.
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm gonna, passing around, I think it's going around, go around. Okay.
Progress on the Southampton.
If they want to see. Just the progress on Southampton, it's moving along, okay, it's again, to the finishing touches right now, putting, fixtures and partitions, okay, the tile inside, that pictures that you see, it came out really nice, the floor looking pretty nice inside there. So you practically got a brand new, building there, the last, another 20-some years, well maintained. Any questions, Dave, on what you might have on Southampton?
Completion date?
I keep asking the same thing.
Right now, like I said, right now, it's in the finishing side of it, so we got stucco on the outside, the plumbing, everything, pretty much, all the other inspections pretty much passed through, so it's just final inspections, okay? So I would say sometime this month coming, should be ready to go, so it's looking pretty good. I have two things that we've been researching on, and we brought this up before. One was the engineering for the electrical, okay? We did get two prices, pretty steep prices. One of them was JRD, the one that did the air conditioning engineering here, okay? And another one was Advanced. Both of them, Advanced at $34,500, and DRLRD is $40,208, okay, for the engineering of that electrical. Again, that's to separate the mechanical room from the switch here to give us power for future, eliminating some of these issues that we have. We're pretty maxed out right now to add any more. If you wanted to add any kind of heat pumps or anything like that, you can't do it anymore. That's it. We reached our capacity without tripping. We are going to have some adjustments made on the breaker, trying to get a cost right now, and on the main breaker itself, so that it does give us that situation where it tripped out before, okay? So, as soon as I get that together from, our electrical power company and our electrician and the engineers will, how to actually be able to do that, so that we don't have this issue again, okay? We are, at this point right now, we just turn certain things off, okay, so that we don't get into that. But they're saying that we could get it to a point where we can put everything back on and just reach that capacity, okay?
Dan, for some of this stuff you put on the site panel, with its own
So
circuit breaker?
that's what this is basically doing. You're taking the 600 amp switch that's in the switch gear right now, okay? and putting a separate meter for the mechanical room, all itself, because that's where your most draw is. And now you'll have plenty of space on the switchgear. You know, you could add breakers to that switchgear because that switchgear is not that old. You know, okay? So you'll have plenty of capacity, another 600 amps, okay, that you could deal with in the future. Okay? So that's two things. The other one that I'm bringing up here, it's sort of like it's been brought up to us because of our IT tech. We've had some issues inside the room for air conditioning and security, and that is the IT room where it's located at. It's basically the heart of this building. You do something in there and you turn everything off. Everything from air conditioning, lighting, the whole works. It's an IT room. So, but it's combined with a storage room where people are getting too close to the equipment. And that's where we need to separate it, plus it needs to be air conditioned by itself. Okay, so that we need to put a door and separate it with a wall. Okay, and air conditioning that room and keep it secure where it has a key where only certain people can get into. Right now, too many people, and then when something goes wrong, everybody's blaming the cameras right now. And we've had some issues, okay? Because you got too many things inside there that could cost us money, you know, if somebody decides to do something crazy inside there, you know, okay? And most IT rooms are isolated, okay, and air conditioned, you know? So, we did get some prices to do that because they use it as a storeroom,
Yes. Yes.
Well, so it's one big space currently, and so we store extra everything, bottled water, extra ticket stock, rent-a-clothes program, that's where the racks are, that we're gonna take them off the rolling racks and put them up on the walls, but agreed that we need to safeguard the IT section of the room, and we need to put a wall and a door, so that's what this is all about. We're still gonna use the other half of it for storage.
Fortunately, it's not a cheap thing to do, because we're putting a doorway into that wall that's in the back side of the ticket office, okay? And we're actually putting a wall inside there to separate the IT with leaving the existing door that goes into that storage room, which basically goes into the IT room first, okay? So, we got two quotes, one from Smart Code at $8,850, and the other one is at $8,221 from Chosen Group. So, again, I'm only bringing it up because I feel that it is, we run into situations there, and I don't want somebody to accidentally do anything, again, where they hit that equipment and it's gonna cost us money, you know?
Do we have any other empty space that you could move the storage area to?
No, we're limited as to space. If you would allow me to get rid of the bingo equipment, I could come up with some space then, but we do have bingo equipment taking up a large part of the closet.
We have a lot of little closets everywhere.
We do, little things, and we need something that's right there where the staff can run in the back and get what they need. That's the issue.
If you go in there, if you want to take a look inside there, you'll see, I mean, the rack of clothes, there's some clothes, just use it for.
Well, again,
That's what's causing our problem there, you know, taking things in and out of the clothes and the racks.
it's a lot of different things. We have wheelchairs, a couple of wheelchairs back there, some walkers. We've had some people that we've had to actually roll out to the car because they started to not feel well. So those things need to be right there where the staff can get their hands on it and aid people. So we also have a lost and found back there. But again, this is everything that the staff office needs. They shouldn't be leaving the office to find another storage area to go rummage and then come back. So these are all the things that they need to conduct business.
So I'm basically gonna go back to the contractors to try to lower that a little bit down, but I'd like to see if we can move forward with that, just to isolate that room.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah.
You're
I
looking
do.
for a motion?
Yeah, and I don't think I'll go over 8,200, so, between both of them.
Will anybody make a motion
I'm gonna say,
to
Make it clear.
divide the
Yeah.
room? They have a room, they have to put a wall up to separate the IT equipment and the storage that they're using it for.
That IT equipment is the hub for the whole clubhouse. So it's important, you know, to keep it safe and isolated. We just,
Yes, Michael?
Motion to segment the IT room with a barrier wall.
Thank you. Who's the second?
I'll second it.
All right, good, now we can discuss it. Yes.
I was going to ask before we even did that. The equipment that you said with from the bingo, does that make a difference? Take all that equipment or whatever is there from the bingo, would that make a difference? We might be able to move some things, but we still need wheelchairs, we need the clothing, all right? One of our biggest issues here, as you know, we don't have enough parking, so in season, when someone's not dressed properly and we need to send them home, they're gonna fight tooth and nail because they know when they come back, they're not gonna have a parking space. So we get into these screaming matches, and to take it off the ushers and the staff, you know, they need to have that all right there. So it could help with other things,
But it won't make
we
a
still need
difference.
some core items, yes.
Donald, would you put on the agenda the next officers meeting, the sale of bingo equipment that's currently owned by UCO and not being used? Thank you.
Makes sense.
Thank you. All right,
So,
you have a motion, you have a second. Is there any discussion on it? Okay.
Call the question.
Maureen,
no.
Could you repeat the motion, please, Tony?
the motion is to create a room for the IT with a barrier wall,
Not to exceed $8,000.
not to exceed $8,000.
I believe that's what you wanted right there.
$8,200, the lowest price, but $8,000, I'll work it somehow to get it in there, but I'll try it. I'll let you, I said 8,002, but I'm bringing it down to the lowest price.
I round off numbers.
We'll work it out somehow.
Thank you, Dan.
Maureen?
Yes.
Yes. Ruth? Yes. John?
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Patricia?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Fausto?
Yes?
You don't like me.
Yeah. Put her down for maybe.
Oh, it's because you moved over to the next
Yeah,
page
next
on me.
page.
That's it. That's why. I didn't see you're all alone, like
Oh.
alone. Okay, motion carried.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Eva, you're next. Or do you have anything else,
I have
Dan?
one more thing, just a little bit of research that I've been doing with the other communities. I'm trying to get you guys involved in it also. There's a program out there for FDNL, okay, on a solar program, okay, which they have to reduce the electrical bill. They're using their solar power supply that they have out there in the oven. We signed it up for Boca. We're still on a waiting list. I'm just letting you know, I'm trying to get you guys on that list with also here, Boca. Since you're in the Palm Beach area, we could put a little pull to try to get us on that list. For some reason or another, yeah, when I went to try to put you guys into it, it was like a week later, and they didn't allow it. But I talked to our rep, and basically he's going to try to see what he can do to put that on there, because there is considerable savings if we go through there.
Don't they charge every month?
Yes, but the whole thing is what they're trying to do. Remember, they lost that bid way back where they do the solar. They wanted to take over all solar, okay?
I know,
So
but how-
what they want to try to do now is basically, so they could get rid of these programs that are out there, use their solar program, they'll give you less of a bill, okay? That's what the whole problem, the whole thing is that you register through them, and your bill will be reduced going through that solar program.
I know that works the same way up north, but there is a cost.
We're totally different than up north thing. There's no cost on solar because the solar is already there. They already have their niche out there out west. They have all their panels.
But they charge you monthly.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a reduced charge for you.
I got what you say reduced, but I'd like to
It
know the
isn't like the
charge.
north, it isn't like up north where you have to put the solar panels up, okay? And then you have to pay out. This is a program that you get into and they're willing to, because they're running to try to stop me from trying to go to an outside outfit, right, to put solar
Okay.
panels on site here, okay?
Dan, who's the rep? Diego?
Yeah, no, it's, Fernando.
Do you know for that?
Please send me an email.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I mean, Fernando, the political side of it, yes, if you could help us out through
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
okay? Because I sent it, we sent the email now, since you got that contact, you helped me out, we help each other out in emails, because, basically, we have the high rep up there, the president of the, FPNL, and when we send, it helps both communities when there's problems with lighting,
Yeah.
We still have these situations in Boca with lighting, but it does help out now, because we just don't do our reps anymore, we do their supervisors plus the head of the, operation, and they do respond to us pretty quickly when it.
Is there any connection with that, if let's say Diego project coming in July, bringing 8 new, streetlights in? Are we talking about the same division?
No, two different, everyone, that's a whole different position, yeah. But I understand what she's talking about, but I think that, I'll get more information, I'll send it to Donald, okay, where that program is, okay, and how it affects us. There isn't, it's supposed to help us in the savings, okay? We just need to know more information about it, but it's just trying to get into the program so that we can get as much information about that, Okay?
Is already.
Boca is on, and as a matter of fact, it was brought to my attention, but unfortunately, I was in the hospital at the time, and there were some delays that happened there, and they're trying to, the program just stopped for a little bit again. I don't know if you remember when we had the solar, the lighting programs, when they had a big mess up with FPNL on that. They basically said that condos and everything could get lights in, and you put a sensor, and that sensor would be able to report when that light goes out. Well, that never worked out for them.
It didn't work for a week.
Yeah. So, the program for us, and we did that to every single light in Boca, and they don't know when they, because we have private poles, you have poles that are FPNL.
FPNL owns it.
But, ours aren't, so when the rep comes out there, sees a private pole, he doesn't wanna fix it, so we always have to do like a demonstration map of where to go to. Since their lights are theirs, the poles are ours, So, but the programs failed, so I don't have a lot of confidence on, until I see it in paper and then ask these questions how we go forward with this, because they did fail on this program with the solar lights.
We want to see the hardware working in another place.
Yes, but it did save us money on the electric for sure, with the solar light, I mean the, LED light. Okay. That's it.
Okay, I'm up. First agenda item is, I will not be available for the ops meeting in June on the 24th. I'm asking if we can change it to the 17th.
Any objection?
So be it.
Thank you.
We have to adjust our schedule.
Yes.
For June.
Okay, so under discussion and Q&A, I've put down Gulfstream Goodwill, and this is something that Joanne and I have been working on, so I will provide any space, but I'm going to turn it over to you, Joanne, to speak on.
Does that work?
Well, no, I hear you.
Number two microphone doesn't work. I don't know why they-
Hopefully you can hear me. Eva said, she was approached by someone from an organization called Gulfstream Goodwill. And it's the organization that provides homeless shelters in Palm Beach County. They are the people that run those shelters. Gulfstream is a very large organization. It's been around for many, many years. I'm familiar with them from my past lives. And 4 years ago, they launched a program called Senior Homeless Prevention. And they're developing that program with a bunch of partners all over the county. They have asked to come in and talk to us and bring services into the county that they describe as wraparound services. And these are, I kind of look at it like we have the tax assessor that comes in every month so that we can take advantage of the homestead rebate. So anybody that needs that service, they look on the schedule, they see when they're here, they come and they take care of that. There will be someone every Friday from 9 to noon that comes in from Gulfstream to help anyone with county or state needs that they can help through the maze of getting those things accomplished. Some of them will be things like transportation, like PalmTran, and other things are food programs. It all depends on the person's requirement. And another part of this whole thing is that they run a lot of social programs in order. Congregate meals is one of the things that the county provides, but Gulfstream would help facilitate so that we would have the ability, they can come in, they have their own kitchen, they prepare everything. It's, you know, there's nothing for Century Village to do other than have the people come. And that's sort of where I come in, because I like the advertising part of it. And I really believe in bringing community services as close to the residents as we can do. Don't make people stand online. Let a caseworker take an application for a community service that they need. There's all sorts of services. They're actually going to be here tonight at 6:30 to present their volunteer training program so that neighbors can help neighbors. They have committed to a caseworker once a week who will be here. And, you know, it's just a matter of making everyone know that we're doing these things. And I want to put it on the TV, I want to put it in the paper, I want to put it on the blog, and advertise that we are bringing community services closer inside the community, rather than having our residents have to go. And of course, it provides a safety net. With all that's going on out there in the world today, I think that giving people a little bit of security, that we have folks here that can help them with all sorts of services, that they're not just out there alone to try and figure things out on their own. So it's really more a matter of helping people understand what's going on in the community. So I don't know what else we need.
What does that mean tonight?
Tonight is an opportunity to volunteer. So at 6:30, if you would like to come, it's going to be in meeting room A upstairs, and they're going to introduce their volunteer opportunities.
It was never advertised that it was in this meeting, was it?
No, it's very new. This all just happened just pretty recently.
They need volunteers.
So, yeah. Mhm.
I know you'll volunteer with me, Joyce, right?
Of course, yeah.
If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy, but I think 6:30 tonight will be the time to get most of those questions answered, because they'll be here.
Right, and, you know, we'll, any space that we need to get this done, but I think to connect people with services, they may need them, but they don't know how to go about getting them, and to have this in the lobby and make it that simple for them, I think the benefit to so many people will be tremendous, there's no question about it, so. Very excited about this. They really are very well connected and will bring many good things to the village here. Mhm. I do believe, though, I think that the meeting is upstairs we wanted it in meeting room A, but it's going to be in the art room, which is all the way at the end of the hall past my office, upstairs. But we'll make sure security knows that they send them to the right place. Okay? All right. All right, next here is, I just had a funny situation where my night staff supervisor told me that she had somebody that came in for a meeting. They were a property manager, but she charged them the $3 guest fee. So I had called Donald, you asked me to put this on the agenda. I don't think they should be paying any monies to come in, should not, so, yeah. So if anybody thinks differently, here's a chance to have your say, otherwise, okay.
They need to work, not the recreation.
Exactly, so, all right. Next is, I had a resident that came to me, and this is something I know that they've been wanting. I know that there's some people that do it at their buildings, but it is a resident flea market / food truck event.
We've tried food trucks before.
We really haven't. We really have not. I did try to do one event. It was on I think the coattails of COVID.
Yeah.
One woman showed, another guy called, said he had COVID, and one guy didn't bother to show at all. right? So we were trying to get residents outside where it was healthy to at least do something. So this would be a flea market and food truck event, maybe sometime in the month of November before the holidays. We could have it in the parking lot as long as legal says we can have it in the parking lot. And we could have our resident Nathan, who plays music for me at my guest pool, you know, he could provide music. We could also have some food trucks. But I know in the past that this has been kiboshed, but under you, potentially, I don't know if it would be any different.
But it's your property, you still have the same insurance as you have with anybody.
Of course, we're gonna go through
So,
all of that.
That's it.
Right, but in the past, this has been frowned upon and has been voted down. So it's a courtesy to the committee, but
Eva, I have a thought on this.
yes.
UCO has no jurisdiction over UCO has no jurisdiction over flea markets happening on residential properties, but we do control signage on the main roads. We don't permit it, and that's part of our roadway agreement
Right.
with WPRF.
Right.
My thought is by having a central place to have these things, there's less need to have it at the residential. It's just one more place for people who want to have flea markets to go.
And I would agree. I think a building parking lot is very limited in space. I think it turned out to be a very positive, good
What
thing.
typically happens at the residences is that
Mhm.
they move all their cars out of the parking lot, and where do you think they go? To the building across the street, and then guess who gets the call on that?
Right.
So this is just one more sink for these kind of things to go, which people seem to like.
I do, so we'll figure it out and we'll see what we can do and I'll get the okay from legal. We'll get all the appropriate paperwork
And if a hot dog wagon tacks on, that's okay.
Yeah, and this is gonna be a group, a group that plans different things, so, but I'm gonna try to get them the property. I think it would be better to have it on rec property, get it away from the buildings, get the signage, this will, advertise it as far as Gulfstream Goodwill. We'll also make announcements from the theater, from the stage. So, yeah, I think it could go well. All right, just wanted to make sure, because as I said, in the past, there's been some pretty negative comments, and it was kiboshed each time it was brought up, so, okay. And that's it for me, so.
Well, I have, Monica, I don't know what the feeling of this committee is, but I've had this thought for some time, and we keep getting beat up, losing money at the theater, at the dances, at the movies. What would the possibility be that in the next year's budget, we charge every unit owner 30 cents a month for those services? Comes out to about $2,400 a month. That would cover, no. This is, every single unit pays 30 cents. Comes out for movies that you don't pay for, whether you go or don't go, the dances that you don't pay for, to cover the cost. Right now, you're losing almost $4,000 a month, more or less. So by charging 30 cents times every unit, that would give you about $2,400 a month to limit the losses that you have. Okay, and it's spread by everybody. We're talking 30 cents. Okay, it's not even the cost of a cigarette. So, but would this committee and would WPRF be able to include that in their budget?
Absolutely, that's, completely up to this committee. We could create a budget line item called entertainment fee,
That's it?
and sure,
Okay. I mean, I think it's a place to start to,
Sure.
Sure.
I'll make a note of that, and when we do have our first budget meeting, we'll go.
How does the committee feel about that? Anybody opposed to it?
I think it's a great idea.
Yes, Michael?
So that would act as a supplemental, so we're not budgeting for a loss?
Right, to try to limit the loss.
Right.
I mean, we're getting better, because 3 years ago, we lost like $120,000. Well, now we're getting some outside people, but I mean, again, I have a business mind. If I had to lose money every single year, I wouldn't be able to stay in business. And my thought is 30 cents is like a reasonable figure.
Mhm.
Comes out to $2,300, just about $2,400 a month.
Don't even notice 50 cents, right?
So if it's a line item and it's in the budget, and it helps some of the people that don't do anything to
Sure.
pay for some of the things that do appreciate it
Right,
and do
right.
use it.
They do it in other villages, right? Don't they do that in other villages?
No, they did not.
Well, the other villages subsidize some of these things, like the
No,
theater, they,
well, they're all in Boca, they make a strong profit on their theater. In Pembroke, they have tremendous losses on their theater. And their committee there, their idea is the theater and entertainment is no different than the buses. If you don't use the buses, you're, the community, and you live in, this community, you're still paying for the buses. So if you choose not to participate in the entertainment, then, that's your choice, but you're still gonna have to cover the cost of the loss of, it's a different philosophy, the way they think there.
I also,
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, no.
I was gonna say, I have high hopes for these two villages we're inviting to join us. The figures for March, we had gotten them the booklets, I think, the first week in March. They only had 3 weeks, and it's all new. Not a lot of people know about it, but I thought 94 tickets sold was a very good showing, considering they had almost no time whatsoever. And I think that's only going to grow. People are going to hear about it from their neighbors. I think it's going to really help us. So, yeah.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you, committee.
Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order? Yes, John?
Yeah, I've got a question. I know a couple of years ago, they talked about restroom facilities for the island. And, to me, it's kind of expensive for no more than a few, but what's the rule for having, porta potties brought in for particular events? They have a picnic on a day. I've seen a lot of these older people trying to get to the clubhouse and the bathroom, and it's a hell of a walk, and you can't walk, and you gotta walk or a cane. Get something for them there, or have some kind of a vehicle to haul them back and forth, like a golf cart or whatever, club car type of a golf cart.
Well, it has to be positioned so that if it was there, let's say through season, that the vehicle that came to suction all that stuff out would be able to get to them. So they can't be very far into the island. They have to pretty much stay.
Well, what I was thinking was have them just bring it in, just like say you're having an auction at your house and they bring in 3 porta potties on Friday and pick them up Saturday or Sunday and they're gone. They just put right up where the entrance goes in, put a couple porta potties right there if you need them. But if that's not permissible, have a vehicle that'll just be here temporarily to run people back and forth to the bathroom.
Well, so if a group or a club were willing to bring it in, or are you seeing this as something that you want WPRF to provide in season only?
No, well, it'd be during the season, but if you had, I wanted to have a party of some kind.
Right,
And
you would ask
a couple
permission
hundred
and we would
people,
arrange
say,
it.
a club had a party and there's a couple hundred people, bring in the porta potties for the day, and then take them out the next day.
I have no issue. They'll have to, jump through our hoops and fill out the appropriate paperwork and get us the insurance coverage. But I agree, there are many people who cannot attend.
And it prevents a lot of them from going because they know
Yes.
they can't make that walk.
Correct.
So if we can get something to provide transportation or something for them right there. I wouldn't expect to put anything on the island per se, because there's not enough room to bring anything down there.
Transportation means, that one, I wouldn't want to do that. And we've actually already discussed that. It is a big liability.
Yeah.
I think we're better off getting in a couple of porta potties,
Well, I'm just food for thought. I don't want.
Listen, I don't think that, the committees have never really approached me with that as an idea, and could they?
Oh, I know,
They may not be wanting, may not be willing to pay for that.
a couple of years ago, they talked about building something
We
right
went,
there on the
yes,
corner with a couple of restrooms and a little pavilion like.
we have all of that and it's still waiting there. It would have been 2 co-ed bathrooms.
Yeah,
You know, we had the engineers come out and so we have the schematics for that. I think that the price tag then seemed high. Now, I can't even imagine what that would look like. But yes, I always thought it was a good idea. But again,
well, it's something to think about because, I don't know, all of us, well, maybe not you, but most of us are getting older.
I'm getting older, believe me, I'm getting
Yourself.
older.
No, it's not.
Older than both of you, I can make it to the bathroom.
But I just wonder if there's any major problem other than you just gotta ask it.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Just ask and I will do my best to make it, you know, to
Yeah.
get all the paperwork in place. They can come on board, but it will be the club or the group that would pay.
Well, that's what I
For-
wasn't expecting, that you have to pay for it, but if we're gonna put something on, we'd be partially responsible to have something there.
Right.
Okay.
Anything else for the good of the order? I'll entertain a motion to,
I make a
motion by
motion to
Joyce,
adjourn.
seconded by Ruth.
I'll
Thank you.
second it.
Thank
See
you,
you next
everybody.
month.